Welcome back to Comics Guy. Today we'll talk about January 1962 when Marvel dropped two pivotal issues, Fantastic Four 2 introducing the shape-shifting Skrulls and Tales to Astonish 27 featuring the very first Ant-Man story. These comics accelerated Marvel's move into serialized storytelling and scientific heroics. So let's dive right in. Fantastic Four number 2, written by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby. In this issue, the Fantastic Four are being impersonated by Skrull agents. First, a Think Double smashes an oil platform off the Texas coast. Next, an invisible girl impostor steals a gem from jewelry store. Then, a Human Torch impostor wielding his flame power melts a newly unveiled statue in a small town. Finally, a Mr. Fantastic decoy sabotages a power plant. These four Skrulls meet afterward to reveal their plan. They intend to discredit the Fantastic Four so that the mighty heroes cannot stand in the way of the imminent Skrull invasion. On the surface, the real Fantastic Four, Reed, Richard, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm are holed up in an isolated hunting lodge catching wind of the chaos. By now, the US Army has surrounded the lodge, mistakenly believing the FF are responsible for the crimes. The heroes surrender only to escape from cells designed specifically to hold them. Determined to expose the Skrulls, they send Johnny to sabotage a rocket launch. It pays off and a fight breaks out, and the real FF capture the false Skrull agents. They steal a Skrull rocket ship and track down the Skrull's mothership in Earth orbit. Reed and Sue disguise themselves as Skrull commanders, tricking the alien captain into believing Earth is too dangerous to conquer. Reed volunteers to stay behind and erase all traces of Skrull activity on Earth. Convinced his invasion force would be slaughtered, the Skrull captain calls off the war and even awards Reed a medal for bravery. On the flight home, the team flies back through the cosmic rays that gave them their powers, briefly turning the thing back into Ben Grimm to human size. Once the Fantastic Four return to Earth, they clear their names by presenting the captured Skrulls to the military. As a final humiliation, Red hypnotized the remaining three Skrulls, transforming them into cows and convincing them that they are truly the bovines. The trio is left to graze peacefully in a field, never to menace humanity again. Fantastic Four number 2 is a landmark because it introduces the Skrulls, Marvel's first major alien invaders. Their shape-shifting abilities and infiltration tactics, framing the heroes for sabotage, expanded the universe far beyond subterranean villains like the Mole Man. Readers saw that Earth was now vulnerable on a cosmic scale. This issue also underlines Marvel's commitment to serialized storytelling. We're in the middle of an ongoing Skrull scheme, not a standalone Monster of the Month story. Parallel to FF number 2 release, Tales to Astonish number 27, also by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, introducing Ant-Man, aka Dr. Henry Hank Pym. The issue opens with Dr. Henry Pym triumphantly demonstrating that his reducing and enlarging serums work on inanimate objects. A chair shrinks to doll size and then returns to normal. Formerly laughed off by his peers for seemingly impossible theories, Pym decides to test the shrinking formula on himself. A few drops on his arm and he rapidly shrinks to ant size. Hank quickly realizes that he left enlarging serum on the windowsill, effectively on the moon. Alone and minuscule, he scuttles into the yard. Ants detect his presence and converge on him. Pym flees into an anthill, only to fall into a sticky pool of honey. Helpless, he watches one ant crawl toward him and pull him free from the honey. Suddenly, multiple ants surround him. Rather than attack, they protect him. Spotting a match stuck in the ground, Pym uses a pebble to ignite it, creating a small fire that distracts the ant colony. He fashions a makeshift lasso from a thread and climbs to a ledge. As another ant grabs him, he uses judo to flip it off the ledge, then scrambles upward. Once outside the anthill, with the colony still in pursuit, Pym finds the friendly ant again. He signals it to point toward the test tube on the window's wheel. The ant carries him upward along the wall. Hank reaches the test tube, ingests the enlarging serum and returns to his normal height. Shaken but exhilarated, Hank dumps both serums down the drain, believing the shrinking formula is too dangerous for mankind. The issue closes on Pym's vow to guard his scientific breakthroughs carefully. Tales to Astonish number 27 is significant as it marks the debut of Ant-Man, one of Marvel's first science-based heroes. Rather than cosmic menace or mutant powers, Hank Pym's abilities stem from biochemistry, Pym particles, pushing Marvels into realm of science heroes. His alliance with ants and Helmet that translates insects' communication added an entirely fresh dimension to superhero storytelling. Also, moving Ant-Man into Tales to Astonish laid the groundwork for further serialized character development. Soon joined by the Hulk's continued adventures and later the Wasp and Giant Man. January 1962 stands out because it introduced two foundational elements of the Marvel Universe. The Skrulls, first seen in FF number 2, they become recurring villains in stories from Avengers to Captain Marvel and major crossover events like Secret Invasion. Ant-Man. Henry Pym's shrinking heroism paved the way for future Pym particle characters and decades later blockbuster films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Both issues illustrate Marvel's shift from standalone adventures to fully interconnected world, where villains can strike from orbit and heroes can shrink to insect size. That sense of limitless possibility is part of what made 1962 so exciting for readers then, and still resonates today. There you have it. Fantastic Four number 2 introduced the Skrulls' first invasion, and Tales to Astonish 27 launched Ant-Man's scientific saga. These issues ignited new storylines and character types that would echo throughout Marvel's history. Next time, March 1962 and third issue of Fantastic Four. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching. Comics Guy.